Alright, Stuntastic 30 here, and I'm actually quite happy. This, I can't believe I didn't figure this out before. This is another update on the Legacy Communicator mod. Now, before I was just taking my board and just gluing everything inside like this, just wiring up the LEDs and just gluing everything down, because obviously I was still thinking about the way I mounted inside of the Starlight Studio communicators, and it works, but I was trying to figure out another way to do it that wasn't so cumbersome, because it actually is quite difficult to get the button aligned up, because the screw thing is right there blocking it, so you gotta like kind of push it in there, and then the set button switch is being blocked by the bar here, so it's quite a task to actually get it working. So studying the just like looking at all the parts that I had, I was looking at the main circuit board, and I was like, I wonder if there was a way to actually use this board. So I decided to just pull the speaker off just to kind of see what it looks like underneath. And I was looking at all the traces, and I basically figured out, like, yeah, I could use this. All I have to do is take off all the chips, break off a few connections, and resolder all of those points to my board, because then I can actually utilize this tactile switch right here, which is the original switch for the set button, so I wouldn't need to change anything. And then I just have to mod it a little bit to accept my side button, so I can put two buttons on there. And so after a few days of messing around with it and trial and error, I finally have an actual fully enclosed, fully one-piece mod of the Legacy Communicator. This is probably the best mod I've made so far of the Legacy Communicator mod. I think I said that right. No, but yeah, this is probably the best mod that I've made for the Legacy Communicator, because it's all one piece. There is no gluing. Well, there's no gluing that's necessary inside of the actual Legacy Communicator shell at all. Everything is soldered on to the main board and wired up and glued down just on the circuit board. And oh yeah, this is another thing that I compensated for the thickness, because as you can see, the same it pretty much matches the thickness of the speaker. And one thing I noticed was that the size of the speaker is actually the size of my board, so it could actually enclose inside of the plastic shell, this shell, without much effort. I mean, I did have to kind of trim away at the edges just a little bit to open up some room, but other than that, the whole form factor is still there. Oh, besides the one little piece that I opened up for the button, but I'll get into that in just a second. But yeah, everything is there. Right now, everything is wired up. It's actually pretty interesting the way I actually figured this all out. I took some pins and I put it through to the other side, so it can actually connect to the power the positive and negative side of the battery holder. And these two areas right here are actually the positive and is it brighter? Okay, these two pins right here are actually the positive and negative side. So I've been kind of fishing around these connections to all of the switches and necessary areas. I didn't have to do this, but I wanted to. I changed the LEDs. The LEDs on the Legacy Communicators they look orange, and I didn't really like that. I like the LEDs that I use because they look more red in person rather than the orange look. Like that I already know that LED because I've done a lot of research when I was doing my mods. Like that particular LED is considered red, but it just looks more orange than red, and I needed something that was like red. I want, like, when I look at it, it's like it's red. You can't mistake it for orange, but you know, whatever. So that the change in the LEDs is actually a pretty risky task, because one thing I noticed about the circuit boards that come with the legacy communicators is that the traces burn very easily. So while taking off the LEDs, I've accidentally ripped off some traces, so I couldn't actually solder the LEDs down and have them hold as securely as they were when the original LEDs were soldered down. So I had to basically find ways of holding it down with hot glue, having pins kind of loop around and hold it together. But so it's not completely perfect, and plus I screwed up the height. That was one thing that was really crucial. Like, the LEDs have to be this height or it won't fit. So and there's a spacer. You don't even notice that there's a spacer in between the LED and the board to kind of raise it up just a bit. And I lost one spacer and I melted the other. So I had to figure out the proper spacing by putting some hot glue in between the LED and raise it up and everything. And I finally got it right. It took me actually a few hours to get it, between like ripping off the LEDs and putting them back on, and ripping them off and putting them back on, until I finally got it right. So any person that would want to try this, unless you're really comfortable with DIY, just leave the LEDs alone. The only thing, just leave the LEDs there. The only thing you would have to do is just tap a wire on the bottom so it can connect to the main board. And that's pretty simple, and you don't have to worry about screwing up the LEDs like I did. But back to my mod. Like, as you can see, everything is glued down and secured nicely. I got two wires here with the side button. You can see that I actually cut into the body here. Am I holding it the right way? Yes, I am. All right, so I actually cut into the body so the switch can actually lay in that area. And you know, it took some trial and error just to find the right position. But this is actually pretty much it right there. And it'll fall right in place when installing. So that's one difference. And that's pretty much it. I mean, everything's in the same position. I just connected in and rewired everything. So let's get to the nitty-gritty. This is the part that I love, because this is it. I don't have to glue it in. It's just this. I just drop it inside of the legacy communicator and it starts working. So I love that. And it uses the same battery holder. It's like I couldn't have thought of a better way besides designing my own boards that look exactly like it. That's probably like the next step. Don't tell me I lost the screw. Oh, no. Okay, where is the? Okay, here we go. Okay, so here is the screw. Let's put that in there. I don't know why I'm overexcited about this. It's just like I wanted to mod the legacy communicator for a while, and for a while I thought I was just gonna mod it the way I showed you before, where you just glue it inside. I never thought that I would even use the main board as a tool for it. So it's awesome that I can actually just have it like this, and then just drop it in. Just like that. That's it. You can see the button, you can see the side button falls right in place, and it actually presses. And the set button is just it just works as if it was the normal board. The rocker is right there, and it'll hit it, and it'll play the extra features from the set button that I have. I can't even talk. So let me just close it here. All right. I haven't tested out putting my own custom mesh inside, but I assume that I'll still have enough room, because I know when I put the mesh in, it does take up some space, but I don't think it'll be a problem. So I'll try that afterwards. But right now, everything is enclosed, and here's another cool part about it is all you have to do is open up the regular battery pack, the regular battery access. That's cool. Come on. You know, if I wish I could have got the regular communicators to this level. Like if Starlight Studio actually decided to make chassis like this, oh man, that would have been awesome. Look at that. Oh yeah. Oh, the set button works too. Look at that. I can press that, get the error sound. I can activate long play. Boom. Oh yeah, look at that. Everything works. That's fantastic. I can't believe I actually did it. That's great. So there you have it. This is the best legacy communicator mod that I have made so far. One solid board, no gluing or mounting in there. All the modding takes place on the circuit board itself. Now, that's not to say that it's easy to do it, because there was a lot of, you have to basically look at the circuit board and sever all of the trace connections, and I had to desolder all of the chips, which, you know, you just take the solder iron and just wipe it across the board and everything comes off. But yeah, like rewiring everything to make sure it's in the right spot. That, you know, you have to be comfortable with soldering to do that, but this is pretty much the perfect way to mod it. And from now on, if anybody else wants a legacy communicator modded, this is the way that it should be done. So I'm just glad to finally figure this out. I just wish I figured it out before, because I already modded two legacy communicators the other way. So, you know, the other way is, it has its own, it's a simpler way to do it, because you take my board and just kind of glue it in there. And this one is more integrated, where you're actually wrapping it around this circuit board. So you kind of have to understand a little bit more about about like messing around with circuit boards and stuff like that. But yeah, this is it. I'm happy.